Hello everyone. A while ago, I made two videos about modern train sets and how bad they are. The comments on those videos brought up some very good points, and I wanted to both talk about them and do a proper second video rather than that awful one I made like a month after the first. So, with that said, strap in, this is going to be another long video. And let's define the problem. What makes a great train set? I'm sure the most common answer is a lot of stuff, or a big set. And most of you might be thinking, well, yes, makes sense, checks out. But if I said it was made by Tyco, most of you would do this. I think the size of the set and who makes it is a superficial problem. I will put both the goal and problem into two categories. It gets people into model railroading, or giving enough product to have fun. And I'll talk about the soft and hard factors of both of these.
Tables and handcars. Part of our history and of our daily lives, railroading has a powerful lure for most Americans.
So, how do you get customers into model railroading? Well, I don't have a single answer, as I don't think there is one. Model railroading may be a common hobby, but we all enjoy it differently, and what got us into it is also very different. Some find it early, some find it later in life. I have always just liked trains, while a buddy watched trains as a kid and decided to model what he grew up with. My theory for this goal is that the train set needs to focus on the soft factors that will sell them. Things like box art, a short history of the trains in the set, putting trains in the set that exist today or from the last 20 years, things like that. The box art is the first point of contact for the customer. If the box does not excite or at least intrigue the customer and show what you are getting, people will simply just ignore it and move on. And a small history on the box, with more included inside the set, is a great way to spark that interest in both trains and model railroading. While this will appeal more to adults than children, I don't think that's a bad thing, as toys seem to be less and less likely to sell no matter how good they are when the free app is available with a $1,000 tablet or phone. And it might just be the market is just changing, and companies need to adapt, and, well, the progression of time doesn't wait for anybody. I mean, for instance, when was the last time you saw a electric train set in a big box retailer? A lot of people will bring up, well, yes, Sears used to sell them, and that's where I found my first one, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s. But the 70s are 50 years ago, and the 80s are not much further behind. I remember seeing O-gauge Lionel train sets at Target around Christmas time in the 2010s, if I'm remembering correctly. I remember seeing them there, and they were only there during that time. I also remember seeing a Bachman Thomas train set at a Walmart, but this was pre-2010, and I also remember Toys R Us having a very small selection of lifelike train sets. But when you consider that the 2010s are now, well, pretty much a decade ago, whether it be early or hell, even mid's gonna be a decade ago in a year. It is, admittingly, very hard to get people into something that they don't know exists. And while, yes, we have the internet these days, and, I mean, on YouTube, I'm sure you could find any model train thing you wanted to. I mean, we did back in the day. But my point is still, if you want to get people who are younger interested in it, it needs to be somewhere they can find it / readily available. Kind of like how an app is readily available on any mobile device. Now, enough product to have fun is a much, much simpler task. Here's my theory. A train set that can take your toys and imagination on a trip. Now, how do you manage this task? Well, let me tell you. Put yourself into the mind of a child. What will they do with their trains? Crashing mainly, yes, but beyond that, They will want to haul their Legos to a construction site, linking logs from the mill to the town. fish gravel from the mines to the dam in mom's kitchen sink, normal things. This side is a focus on the hard factors, things like what models are actually in the set, and the most important part, large amounts of track. I think we can all agree that tracks are something we all wish train sets had more of. And track is what makes your railway far more than the trains that roll over it. Add this to my personal theory that open-top cars are the most important cars to include in a train set. Let me explain that a bit. In this day and age, phones are king of young people. That's the reality of today. If you want to compete with them, you need to offer something different. Open-top cars really offer this. Flat cars, gondolas, hoppers, these cars give the opportunity to be used with other toys. I used Legos, fish rock, used batteries as loads as a kid, and my Tomy troublesome trucks were great for this. They're the perfect size. G-Scale and O-Gauge are perfect for this too. Nice big open cars that pretty much any toy will fit inside of one way or another. HO can do this as well, but it's a bit harder and, it's more for the smaller toys and fish rock and Lego, stuff like that. And while N-Gauge could be used for this, you're going to have an even harder time achieving that goal. And I think part of what made the older Lionel sets from about the 50s through maybe the 80s, but I'd probably say more the 70s, so popular and so loved was they could be used with any other toy. O-Gauge is that perfect medium of the cars are big enough to shove whatever toys in there that were also big at the time, and the track and everything else was simplistic, but I guess that's a bit of another issue. If you could recreate that feeling or purpose of the train set, you could regain some market share pretty damn easily, and with really not that much more expense.